Everyone, we're gonna go over DocuSign today. I want to show you how it connects with Command and the importance of connecting it with Command. And if you're from Excel, you'll just get a sneak peek of what's to come because they'll be switching. You guys will be switching by the end of the year. I believe go live date will be January 15th. So yeah, all right. So I'm gonna start in Command. Just to show you where everything should be hooked up and how you link it to an opportunity and all that. So this is your Command dashboard, agent.kw.com to log in. Everyone should be pretty familiar with this by now. We're going to go up here to your name. You can click on that and go into settings. And you will see in the applications, it will ask you to connect. Then it will send you an email to authorize it. So you click connect, then you go to the email to authorize. You authorize it, then you log in. So you will do this to set up your account as well if you've never logged into DocuSign. It'll be your it'll be your KW email, and then you will create a password in DocuSign, which once you authorize it through that email, you'll come back to this screen and click authorize, and then it'll pop up DocuSign to let you create your password, and then you'll be connected. You may have to refresh your screen once you get back into Command, and I will show you guys that in depth as well. So this is where you connect DocuSign to your Command, and you need to do this in order to essentially connect it to your opportunity. So once you're ready to create your opportunity, you're going to come over here, and I'll just create a fake one real quick for you just to show you how you get that synced together. A key information you are for your client or anyone who's going to be a part of this room, you're going to want to make sure that their email is in their contact information, because that is what DocuSign uses to send, obviously. So when you're adding your clients to your opportunities, make sure in the contacts their email is in there. So when you create an opportunity, I'm here in the Documents tab, you're going to click Start a Transaction. Doing this connects this opportunity to DocuSign. If you go straight into DocuSign and don't do this, you'll have to download your forms and then upload them. It just creates extra work for you. But when you click Start a Transaction and it creates a room, or if you're a .loop user, a loop and a room is the same thing. So you'll hear me use that word interchangeably, but it creates a room for you for this listing or for this opportunity, and therefore it is connected forever. And you can add forms a lot quicker this way. So you do Start a Transaction and it will pull up DocuSign for you. Please be advised that Keller Williams and Command work through Google only. I mean, not only, but function in full functionality through Google only. So if you use Safari or Firefox, it's not going to work right. You may try to do this and it won't pop up. If that's what's happening, make sure you're in Google Chrome. I've already got my account set up, so it's letting me in. Sometimes if you can get your computer to save your account information, just auto logs you in, perfect. Mine doesn't do that for some reason. So as you can see, this is the opportunity name. So when you create a room, which is the same as a loop, it will duplicate the name for you of your opportunity. The first thing you'll want to do is go into the Details tab and check this information and add anything that's missing, which I made the mistake of not putting a property address in here in my opportunity first, because it would auto-populate that for me. So if you don't have it, if it's a buyer, then you'll have to come back in here and add that later. And how you do that is click on Edit. But first I want to show you basically the layout of this. So this is the room information, additional information, location. This is the property address that that they're looking to buy or sell. And then all of your people information is on the right hand side. So it's seller 1, seller 2, and then as you scroll down, the listing agent, which since I created a listing opportunity, it will auto-populate your information itself. Then listing agent 2, if there would be 2 agents on it, and then buyer 1, buyer 2, buyer 1 agent, buyer 2 agent. So that's along those sides. And then there's offer details and listing details. There's more boxes that as you go down. These are not necessarily required. Only the ones that are required have the red asterisk in it, which I think is just the property address or the location. It is nice if you have like earnest money. Some of these will pre-fill in for you if your forms have this information on it. So sometimes it is nice to have that information. Square footage, that kind of stuff, that would be in any of the forms. So once we have this settled, we've got it, we know what we like, you're going to come over here to documents. Here is where you're going to add your documents and pre-fill them to get things rolling. So you're going to go up to add, and you're going to go to DocuSign forms. I want to stress to you that I probably get this question almost weekly, is you, in order to have access to the Ohio Association of Realtors forms, which has the COVID showing addendum in it, you have to have your NERDS number in DocuSign. So let me quickly show you how to do that. So when you're going to come up here to your initials or your picture, whatever's in there, and you're going to go down here to preferences, click on that, and then down here to integrations. And when you do that, you'll see the zip form first. Scroll down just a little bit, and NERDS information. So you need to put your NERDS ID in here. Your last name should auto-populate, and then you're validating against the Ohio Association of Realtors, which is the 6th one from the bottom. I had to search forever because they're not in alphabetical order, or it seems to me not in any logical order. So just know it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 6 from the bottom. So that is there, and then you save changes. Once you do that, that should allow you to have those forms. And I will get back into my room. All right, so we're going to go back up in our room. We're under documents. We're going to go to DocuSign forms. And Capital Partners and Excel will have these groups. I highly suggest you use them. It just makes it a little easier to find forms. So the DocuSign Forms library, think of it literally like a library. It holds everything. Every form that there is in our DocuSign accounts is there. If you go to DocuSign groups, there are groups to choose from, which is the buyer and listing packets. So I'm going to go to listing packet, and this is going to populate not every form, but most commonly used forms for a listing. And same with the buyer packet. You can see probably very vaguely these little circles on the side. You can see them there checked. So you can either select all if you want all of them, or you can just go through and pick the ones that you want, just depending on where you are in the showing. Again, I'm not going to be able to see the COVID showing addendum because I don't have a NERDS number, and so thus far I don't have access. But so you just check what you want and choose add. Now this is going to be the biggest change if you're transitioning from .loop, is you edit your forms here and then add the signature and date and initial tags elsewhere. So this is going to be the big change. To edit or pre-fill these forms, you're just going to click on them and then fill them in as you need to. This one doesn't need anything, but see here, these boxes should pre-fill the address. So let me quickly go back and put an address in just so you can see how it will pre-fill. Again, you're going to click edit up here at the corner if you need to change anything. Address. Let's do, we'll do Excel's address today.
Hey, Rachel.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
I mean, just so that we can look at the forms, can we print the blank forms from here, or does it not allow us to do
Yes.
that?
You can print them from a room. You cannot just click on, if you want, it's hard to say. So there's up here, there's My Docs, which gives you access to all the documents, but it says sample across the back. So you couldn't use them with but if you want to use them just to look at and go over, you can download them from here.
Okay.
If you want them to be able to sign them, say for whatever reason they're just anti-technology and you want them to sign it and they want to sign it physically, then you have to download them from the room in order to get rid of that sample in the back. So if you want to be able to have quick access to forms, say internet's not working or whatever, if you want to download them to your computer to have as a backup, I would recommend just creating a test room. And you
creating a what?
A test room. And you can create that from DocuSign. You don't have to create an opportunity for that. But this would, just so you can download those forms to the computer.
Okay, thank you.
I get a lot of questions about the property type, residential attached and detached. Again, it's not required, but those are just little things that you can think of that may come up. It's literally attached or detached, like is it attached to a building or not? So we're going to, now that I have my address in there, we're going to save that. And now we go back to documents, it should populate the address for us. So that's why it's important to fill out all the details, like less work at the end. And there it is. So it'll fill in all that information, how the boxes are tagged. So once we like what we have here, obviously this form does not require any information to be filled out. It's just a signature. We'll just save and close. Now be mindful, you won't see the signature tags here because it's not here at this step. It's later in the step. So we'll go through our pages. Now I just want to show you quickly how it will pre-fill in for you. Again, the more information you have, the more it will pre-fill for you. And just like stuff like here, like remarks, you can put anything in these boxes and that will be on the contract. So you can pre-fill in information like that ahead of time just to make it go a little quicker. And then of course on the contract, you'll have to fill in all of that information. So here is where your pre-fill. Once you're happy with your forms, if you want to send all forms, you can come over here and do select all, or if you only want to send specific forms, you just hover over that form and you see this little circle pops up in the left-hand corner, you're going to click on that. And then once you, here is where you would download them. So all these little applets kind of pop up here. There's copy, move, email, combine, create an envelope, download, archive, unarchive, and delete. I believe you have to get permission to delete forms. Maybe not if they're not signed. If for some reason you wouldn't want a form, you can just archive it. And that way, if you need it later, you can get it back. This would be to download it to your computer, send it out in an email, move it. You can create folders within a room to make it a little more organized. So if you see this one says room docs, I've never actually, I'll be honest, I've never done it. So I honestly don't know. Actions. Oh, here we go. So under actions, add a folder. And we can name it, initial, whatever. Previous offer. This would be a good one for right now. with the multiple offers going around, that's just kind of how the market is right now, just because our inventory is super low. But so if you would have a deal fall through and you still keep that same opportunity, you just create a new version of the documents, you still keep the same room or loop, you just create a new folder. And you can move the documents around in these folders, and you'll still have access to all of the folders in Command. So even if the offer would fall through and you need to put the termination, you still have access to that, and then you also have access to your new documents on the new offers. So
Rachel,
yeah.
can you please show how to move the documents from folder to folder? Do you just drag them?
Yep, just click and drag.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
So that helps sometimes with organization, because I will be honest, they go in alphabetical order and you cannot rearrange the documents themselves like on the screen. So this would be the best way to, if you're someone who likes more visual, clean lines, that is probably going to be a better option for you. Or you can switch it over here to list if that looks cleaner for you as well. So there is that option of grid over a list. So once we have, I'm going to go ahead and select all of our forms, and we're going to create an envelope. So when you're creating an envelope, you're thinking of it like a literal envelope. You're going to stuff these forms in this envelope to send to your client or whomever. So this is the next step of getting it sent to your clients. So you're going to name the envelope. I highly suggest you change this. It will auto default, please DocuSign every time. But when you have 6 envelopes in here of the same name, it gets really hard to know which forms are what, or which envelope is what, to track who signed it and who needs to sign it. So if you want to just put original forms or whatever or if you want to list what's in there, it's not world ending, because you can click on it and see what's in there, but just for quick access wise, it's good to know the form, something that will remind you of what the form should be. So I've got my envelope name. These are the documents that are in the envelope. And then I'm going to go down here to add recipients. Always use pre-tag roles. It will save you a million years of time. If you do not use pre-tag roles, you will have to tag every signature, every date, every initial for everybody that has to sign these forms. So write that down. Always use pre-tagged roles. So I'm just going to use my seller 1 because that is who my person is. Apparently Donald Duck has now turned into Keith Duck. Not sure how that happened, but we're going to roll with it. Also, something to note with the pre-tagged roles, it is only going to populate people that are required to sign those forms. So as you noticed, the broker is not on here, and that is because none of the forms that I have selected for signature require her signature. Something to note that unfortunately I do not believe we have any control over. A couple of the Columbus Board Realtor forms have the tag as owner instead of seller. And if you don't choose both, they will not have the opportunity to sign those forms. I'm working on reaching out to see if we can get that fixed, but I don't believe we have a lot of control over other forms. So working around for that would just be to delete the owner tag and just use the seller tag. And I can show you how to do that here in a second, but just be wary of that. It's not something I'm happy that is like that, and it has caused issues. So I just want you to be aware, if you see it say seller 1, seller 2, and owner 1 and owner 2, you need to tag both of them. And then also the listing agent would be yourself, or since this is a listing thing, you don't have to put the buyers in there. This is just more for your side, but because there are opportunities for them to sign it here, they're there. Another big thing that happens a lot is for the broker. So for some reason in DocuSign world, they do not allow us to like pre-fill our broker information into that so it doesn't automatically populate. So what you'll have to do is invite your broker to the room, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So we have gotten our seller one in our listing agent. As you can see here, it's got their name. We're just going to roll with Keith's stuff today. So you want to make sure their legal name, or however they are going to sign it, name is there. For Cap Partners agents, Lori's, write this down, needs to be H period Lorraine, L-O-R-R. Jill, is it A-I-N-E? Is that right? I believe so.
Yeah, A-I-N-E, you're right.
Yeah. And then Molnar, M-O-L-N-A-R. It has to be like that for her. For Excel, just Joanne Biggie. All right. So we've gotten their name and their email. This will always say needs to sign. If you want to change it, there's needs to sign, need to view, CC receives a copy, or specify recipient. With needs to view, if they do not view this, it will not let you go to the next person if your recipients are numbered. So over here, you'll notice that there are numbers. You can number these so that number 2 would not receive these forms to sign until number 1 has signed them, and so on and so forth. This is most beneficial for the broker form portion that needs to be signed, because they can't sign it unless everything else is signed. So, however, that means if one of the dominoes does not sign, the next domino cannot sign. So that's just something to be mindful of when you're numbering them, but I think it's nice that way this is not getting out of whack. And then down here at the bottom, you can send a little note with the email. You don't, again, it's not required, and it is blatantly obvious when they receive that email that it'll say your name via DocuSign is who's sending it. It'll say please DocuSign in the email subject unless you change that. And then when they click on it on the email, it'll have a big box and it says view documents. It'll say Rachel Vaughn has sent you documents. So it's obvious what to do and where to do it, but an email message would be beneficial if, you know, if you're doing their listing, but you're also working on buying a house for them as well, just to clarify information, or if they have multiple properties they're selling. Sometimes this is very beneficial just to kind of give an update, or if you want to list off what forms are in this email or for them to sign or anything they need to be mindful of, that would be a good thing to use that for. Again, it's not required, but if you want to put a note or anything in there, you can. So once we have everything, we're good to go. We're going to click next. Wait on good old DocuSign. Here is where you're going to put all your signatures and dates, anything that's missing. Because we use pre-tagged roles, you should not have to fill in extra. You shouldn't have to fill anything in. This is the signature. This is a date signed. You will, and all of the forms will be in the row for you. And if you notice over here, they'll have little tags. This tells you who needs to sign it on those forms. So we're ready to go. I always still like to go through and check everything just to make sure that, as you can see here, my signature, client signature, I didn't fill in all of this. That's why some of it is blank. This is the initial box. I still like to go through and make sure everything is accurate. So these are the check boxes that your client would fill in, text, and then the radio buttons. Again, this should all be pre-filled and pre-formatted for you. As you go through, I just like to make sure everything is in the right spot. And then also something that you'll have to be mindful of with especially the contract, the purchase contract, is there's a lot of, you know, in each breakdown, there's a this or that, like especially when it comes to the money scenario. So if there are things that should not apply to them, you'll have to go through and delete them. All you need to do is literally click on it, hit delete on your keyboard, or you can come down here and click delete. So over here on the upper left, you'll notice my client's name is Keith Duck, and then he's got a yellow circle next to him. Anything on here, signature, initial, date, that is yellow is his. Anything that is blue is the listing agent, which is me right now. So if you click on, if you need to add something, you can click on whomever. Just always be mindful of what color these are and if it matches the name up here at the top, because that is who you're setting that to sign. So you just click on it and place it. So you want to line this line up with the line you want it to run on. It doesn't necessarily have to be reformatted to this whole box, but just be mindful that the edge here is where it'll cut, like where it'll start. So if you want it over here, that's fine, but don't put it out like this, otherwise your signature will be outside of the box. Not necessarily the end of the world, but doesn't look as good. So, and then again for the date, something else that is different for DocuSign, .loop used to auto-populate the date if there was a signature tag. DocuSign does not do that, so you will have to put a date field in there as well. So once you like what you have, you're just going to click send, and they will send instantaneously. Any questions on those? If you need to add a text box, you can do that there. You can type in those text boxes. It just be mindful of if it's in the listing agent, the client may not be able to see it. And then once you come back here, it'll say forms have sent. I'm sorry, not here. Oh, it's because it's a draft. Once it's sent, it'll say like pending signatures, and then you can check the status of if they've signed, who has signed, when they signed, and what time. For adding broker, you're going to come over here to people, and then you're going to click invite, and you're going to invite them to the room. So I'm going to just do Lori just because I know her right here. Do this one, not this one. Do this one. Like this, transaction side. Since you are the listing agent, she would be on the listing side. I would do, I don't know about the room role. Maybe I would leave it as agent owner, and then you click invite, and that sends her an email invitation into there. So once she is in there, and you should get a notification that that she has accepted it, and once that happens is when you can add her in to your documents. So let me show you real quick. She's not in there, but when you come over here to add recipients of pre-tagged roles, say this is broker. When you click on this, it should be she should be in here. So that is how you add her. And then once you have all your forms, go ahead.
Sorry, because that went pretty fast. Could you go through that again, how you add, Lori?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're going to come up here to people. We're still in this room. We're going to go over here to people. And then you're going to come over here to invite. And then you're just going to start typing their name. And oh no, I'm gonna type her email. Why is it not showing up right now? You can also click on address book and directory.
How weird. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
There's just there she is. So always H. Lorraine Molnar if you are at Cat Partners, just because she has to sign everything that way. Then you are going to choose the transaction side, which would be the same side that of the deal that you are on. And then I leave it as agent owner and click invite. Oh, crap. I'm gonna have to text her now. Whoopsies. But so that's how you would invite her. And then once she accepts it, you will get an email notification and she should pop up like this. And then you would have access to her information in the pre-tag roles portion. If for some reason you forget to do that, you're in a pinch, let me show you how to do the workaround for it. Let me go back to my envelope. You can go down to add recipient. You can just do email address, or if you choose room participants, that should add her as well, but email address. You can put her name. So this is the forced entry type deal. So you're just gonna physically put them in. And then you'll go to next. You will just have to physically add her signature and date little tags. And I'll show you how to do that. So because I put her as a recipient, she will create a color. So we'll say this is a form that she needs to sign. I know it's not, but just for teaching purposes. So you're just gonna click up here at the top. And you see that Lori's color is purple. So I'm gonna click on her name. All my icons are purple. So I'm just gonna click on signature, and then you can add it. And then date.
Okay, but previously you tagged her, was it pre-tagged is what you clicked?
Yes. If she,
Okay.
yeah. So that would be the workaround if you were in a pinch and you needed it to send out now.
Mhm.
Then you can just put her in by email, but you have to add her tags. They don't automatically populate like the others. I'm trying to think of any other little tips or tricks that will help you with DocuSign. So your
Rachel?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a very, very basic question.
Yeah.
And I should know the answer to this, but I cannot find it now. Where is the actual purchase contract? I can't find it in our KW 274 documents.
It should be in the buyer's packet. It may be under Columbus Board. They've kind of been finicky about where things are.
So am I under groups?
So yeah, so change library to
Oh,
group.
My fault.
And buyer packet.
Yeah.
And it's CBOR purchase contract 2020. So that would be the easiest way to find it. If you're just in library, I believe it's only under the Columbus Board forms. I don't think it's in ours. So that's probably why you couldn't find it.
Yeah, that was my fault. I went under library instead of group.
Yep, that's okay. That's why I'm always like, use the groups. Obviously, there's going to be those random one-off forms that aren't in there, but the majority of what you need is in those groups. I just had something I wanted to tell you guys, and I forget. Yes, I remember now. So let me show you. This is the dashboard. So if you would log into DocuSign, which major thing I forgot to tell you, you log in. If you were just logging into DocuSign, you can do it from command every time. You can go to transaction every time if you want to, or if you're just going straight into it, you go to realestate.docusign.com. DocuSign.com will not work for us. got to be realestate.docusign.com. So I'm going to see if I can find forms that are signed already, so I can show you what happens once they're in a room. Okay, perfect. So if you notice here, there's two of the same form. This is the blue is the original form. The green is the signed form. If you would need to go back in and change anything or alter a form and have it initialed or signed, you have to use the blue form. It will not let you edit this. Rightfully so. This is a signed document. You should not be editing it. So if you need to change anything on a form, it needs to be the original blue form. And then you will also receive these certifications, which is the red PDF. This is just certifying that it was signed. I believe this is like, because it's electronic. This is just certification that these are legitimate signatures. So if you see that, that's what those are. You don't necessarily have to do anything with them. I think that's just more of a compliance thing. But you don't have to submit them to the Market Center. So again, green form signed. Green means don't touch it. It cannot be touched except for putting them into command. But if you need to edit anything, you always want to use the blue form. And then when you are ready to put them back into command, which I just toggled my screen back to command, I didn't do anything crazy, use sync transaction first. That is going to ensure that command is pulling the most up-to-date forms from DocuSign. So just click update, just takes a few seconds. And then you can either add the file here or attach multiple files, which I like using this. I think it's just a little bit quicker. And then you're going to choose DocuSign up here at the top. So I clicked attach multiple files, and I'm going to change this from manual to DocuSign. And then when you click on these drop boxes, it's going to give you all the forms. And when you also have these in here, there will be a signed version and the original version. So all of the forms you see here will also be on that list. So just be mindful that it says signed at the end. I didn't have these signed, so they don't, because that's a different room than this one. But you just click on them and go as you are. Obviously, those aren't the right forms, but we're pretending. So.
And Rachel, which version did you click on prior to this? You said you thought it was faster. I didn't.
The attach multiple files here at the top.
Attach multiple. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Because I mean, here you'd have to add file, go to
Right.
DocuSign, choose the one,
Yeah.
click assign, then go to the next one where the multiple files, you can just keep going. You can just click go, kind of. So I think it's just a little bit quicker. And then once they're attached, they show up with the name. Again, these aren't the right forms, but just for syncing purposes. So yeah, and then once you've got your forms ready, you're going to submit to the Market Center. So that is just the brief overview of DocuSign. And we'll, Excel will dig in a lot deeper with everything the next few months. And I have heard that there could be some updates coming to our DocuSign from KW support. So that is hopeful. I don't know what they will be. I know I've already had somebody just ask me specific things that I have asked them and they told me no. So so no upgraded app yet and no auto-populating clauses yet. But supposedly some updates are coming. So any other questions? No? All right. Well, I will let you all go, and I appreciate you coming. And if you think of anything or have any other questions, please feel free to reach out, okay?
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
See ya.
Joe.